Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate very much your generous invitation to be here tonight. You bear heavy responsibilities these days.
Welcome to Stock Legends Radio Show, seeking answers, opinions, and the inside scoop, putting you in the front seat on Wall Street.
In today's market,
This is breaking news. Where is it going next?
StockLegends.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Stock Legends Radio, episode 13. Please welcome today's host, myself, Quick Draw. Also, we have a special guest here today, Mr. Richard Surber, CEO of Green Endeavors, public ticker symbol GRNE. Richard, it's a pleasure having you on the Stock Legends Radio show.
Great to be here, Justin.
Well, we're very excited to have you here. Your stocks and your company is always one that I've had on radar. Your performance within the public sector is unbelievable compared to the competition of the OTC market as a whole, and yet alone, being priced where you're at, this really could be a profitable investment for a lot of the investors. So we want to bring it into public eye. Before we get into your mission statement and your past with the company, why don't you tell us a little bit about your own personal background and where you've been?
Well, I originally founded Landis Lifestyle Salons back in 2005. So, and it started out as just helping a friend out and attending a couple of different Aveda courses and learning about the industry, and I was so impressed with it that I decided to help him start up our flagship location. Matthew Landis was my friend at the time, and then I ended up taking, well, I was a 95% holder at the time, and I ended up taking 100% interest, and I thought it'd be a perfect fit to go public. So that's kind of how I started out in the salon business. Prior to that, my focus was on corporate law. I'm a California bar attorney to this day. I do limited legal practice. On the side, the focus is on Green Endeavors at the moment. And prior to that, I got my finance degree at the University of Utah. And what I did for about a decade was help private companies go public and raise capital via the public markets. So lots of annual reports, insider trading reports, anything to do with documents filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission is what I used to specialize in.
Wow, that's amazing. So you actually have a background that correlates perfectly with the public market. So you're able to, a lot of times businesses have to rely on certain people for these other aspects, but you have it all in one place, which allows you to streamline your business process.
I definitely wouldn't be able to do it without the legal background and the connections that I had as a result of being in, the mergers and acquisitions industry. And, Green Endeavors, we bought full reporting from scratch. And, we've been growing this thing ever since.
Let's take a bird's eye view of 2011. Your revenue tops $2.8 million. That's a significant cash flow for a salon. Let's talk about your business setup and what allows you to be able to maintain such high revenues. Is it your location or more or less the industry? How would you explain that?
Well, like a lot of places, I just don't think the competition's doing the guest the type of service or providing a value-added service like we do for the price. So locations, of course, are great. We choose high traffic areas. For instance, our newest location is in a spot there really isn't anybody else there. It's sitting right on the corner, and there's glass on three sides of the salon. It's about 3,000 square foot. It's really well lit. We spent about $20,000 just on the exterior signs. It's stainless steel and brushed aluminum backlit LED, with our logo. so you can see it. So those 80,000 cars that pass by there, they see the brand every
Exactly.
day in, day out. So, so locations definitely are key. And once you get them in the door, the thing that you have to do is retain those guests. You need to have them coming back again and again and again. And and that's where providing excellent guest services comes into play. And the backbone of providing the best guest services is having a great business model. And in the salon industry, it's key to thoroughly educate your stylist. So we have a new talent program called New Artist, and what we do is we hire stylists usually right out of school, unless they have 5 years worth of Veda education. Then they go through our New Artist program for 11 months, and it's broken down in a system, phase 1, 2, 3, and they're evaluated by our vice president, Logan Fast, who's also a professional with Aveda. So he's had extensive training through Aveda and perfecting, the techniques to do great color, great cuts, and all the add-on services that we do as an Aveda salon. And those add-on services are what distinguishes us from some of the other salons. So,
What kind of add-on services do you guys offer there?
every guest, when they walk in the door, make it a point that our front desk makes eye contact with them, immediately. They're greeted with a smile. They are offered Aveda comforting tea, water, or coffee. We have them, change into a special branded robe so they protect their clothes. If you're a guy or a woman, you're going to get a stress relieving treatment as part of the service. Some of the women, when they're getting the color service done, they have an assistant that gives them a hand massage. And then for the guys, usually we provide a hot towel facial service, and then for the women, before they walk out, they'll do a makeup touch up, which is the way to introduce them to our makeup and provide that service to them. But there's a lot of different surveys that basically show that if women get a cut and color, for instance, they're going to basically go buy makeup as well.
Right, right.
Whether they buy it from us or buy it, from someone else. So we add in that makeup. We make sure that the stylist does a thorough consultation so we get it right.
Exactly.
If we don't get it right, then we tell them to come back until we do. So those are just some of the highlights with regard to add-on services.
Oh, that's excellent. I think the most important key factor there is that the process is choreographed. When you get off the bus at Disney World, everybody has a great time. And the reason why is they're all greeted by Mickey Mouse. They all walk through the same doors, and it's the system becomes perfected, to the point to where it's just reoccurring over and over again. And I think that's what it takes to really run a successful business nowadays. The average customer isn't looking for, a half in and half out type of experience. They really want the works. So that's phenomenal. Your revenue growth is unbelievable. We saw for your investors here in January, your revenues of 239,000, February 222,000, March 267,000. These are pretty big numbers, and they're fairly consistent. You're showing a lot of growth here. Looks like your numbers in January were up 15% over December. Are you now, as you expand? How do these revenue numbers come into place? When you add another location, what kind of additional revenue would you expect to bring on a monthly basis from that additional location?
Well, 2011 was actually the first full fiscal year that our Marmalade location had operations. We opened up in October of 2010. So for the full year in 2011, it did about $745,000 in gross revenues. We projected that it would do about 620. And what I'm pushing for this year is for it to hit probably just under $1 million. Our flagship location first year out did about $1.2 million. First year, and then second year about $1.6 million, and then third year, $1.8 million. Fourth year, about $1.9 million, and then we hit the recession, and we still had a little bit of growth there. Came in around $2 million on the fifth year, 2.1, and then sixth year, 2011, just under $2.2 million in revenue. So, and only 2% of salons in the nations will generate in a single salon the type of revenues that we did at our flagship location, and I think less than 5% generate over $1 million in revenues, if my memory serves me correct. So, what I'm looking to do is for all of our salons that we put in place, I want them to be generating, probably a minimum of $1.5 to $1.8 million in gross revenues when they're in full swing, and I want them to be netting, at least 15% of that. And I would expect that the net profit figure should improve as economies of scale kick in. So,
Right. Exactly.
So the goal here in the Salt Lake area is probably to do, I don't know, probably a total of 5 salons within a 30-mile radius of Salt Lake City. And then once we perfect being able to corporately manage that number of salons, then we're going to look outside of this market.
And just duplicate the same business philosophy. That's amazing. Actually, we want to give you due credit. In 2009, Salon Today ranked Landis Salon as one of the top 200 salons in the nation. That's a pretty big achievement, and it lets the investors know that this isn't a fly-by-night operation. I mean, you guys really have something serious going on here. Now, talking about your national expansion, what kind of time period, and are there any other cities that you're looking at expanding into demographically? I mean, is there anything that you have targeted now, or at least kind of have them on the spin wheel at this point?
Well, really what I want to do is get, like I said, get these 5 locations going here, and get all the systems really well documented and create a franchise system as well to kind of add to the cachet. But what we want to do is, when we expand nationally, is look for really, really successful, hopefully Aveda salons outside of the state. So, I mean, there are a couple of targets. I don't mention any names, at this point, but Aveda has a kind of a lifeline group of Aveda salon owners. I think all the members of that lifeline group, if you added all the salons together, if memory serves me correctly, I think those salons, just those people that are in this one group, I think they generate probably close to $100 million.
Wow, that's serious. That's serious revenue.
So, I mean, and none of those people have the securities background or the acquisition background. A lot of them are, 1, 2, 3-man show. So they don't really have any exit strategy
Right.
for themselves. So that's where the public company model comes into play in a big way. So, but before we get there, I think, like I said, I think we have to kind of do things a little bit slower, and prove our salt, so to speak, and being able to run maybe half a dozen of some of the best salons in the country and show them that we know what we're doing.
Exactly. Let's take a look. A recent headline here said Landis Salon, Lifestyle Salon, seeks to hire 26 new stylists. Now, there was an important segment in this particular release that said that you have the capacity for more than 26 additional stylists at your existing salons. On average, a single stylist can generate more than $80,000 in additional revenue at Landis Lifestyle Salon. So obviously, adding these new stylists is very beneficial to you as a company. Now, is this on an annual basis, this $80,000 number?
Yes, I mean, if you're one of our top guys, at the salon, you're probably bringing in $300,000 and gross revenue. So it's kind of an average, because you're bringing in people just out of school, kids,
Right.
basically that we're charging anywhere from $18 to $25 a haircut. So it kind of averages out. So as we mature and we lead these new stylists down their career path, we want all of them, to be able to make and provide an excellent income for their family. So it doesn't matter whether there's a recession or not. Women don't skimp on their looks if you're doing a
Right.
good job. This is their getaway. So
Exactly.
yeah. So I mean, the idea behind that, what we do at these locations though, is we'd split shift in order to bring in additional stylists. So what that means, right now, for instance, we're open, and this will continue forward. We're open 7 days a week, and then Monday through Friday, it's from 8 to 9 o'clock. So what we do is we basically divide that day in half, and then on Saturday you wouldn't be able to, or Sunday you wouldn't be able to split shift because the hours aren't quite as long. So a Saturday it's from 8 to 6, and a Sunday it's 10 to 4. So, but like at our flagship location, there's 20 chairs. The second location, there's 14 chairs. So if you fill, if you have 2 stylists per chair in each of those locations, one morning shift, one evening shift, we'd be to full capacity at that point. And something that's behind that number as well is, I'm always looking forward to that next salon location at this point. So the idea was basically staff these current locations to the brim, and then hopefully within the next 12 months we raise enough money for, and I've been talking about this for a while, for a location in Draper, Utah, which is about 15 miles away from the flagship location. And then what we do is we would transplant 12 to 15 of those stylists that we spent the year training to the new location, hopefully with clients that are geographically located where that new location is going to be at, and we just hit the ground running. And that's in part what we did with Marmalade location. We overstaffed our flagship location, then we transplanted about 12 stylists to that new location who had a book of clients, because it takes a while to get everybody trained.
Oh, of course. Yeah, that has to be the hardest challenge, is always getting good help. And it takes a little while for them to be able to actually catch on. And then if you can find a way for them to reciprocate what they've learned, it takes a lot of stress and anxiety off of, having to start from scratch. Now, I'm taking a quick look here at this location, City Creek Center, Salt Lake City, Utah. Looks like they're going through a $1 billion makeover in downtown Salt Lake City. And this really is a beautiful looking area. I mean, we've got some pictures in our research report that can be found on stocklegends.com. And what an excellent location here. Looking at some statistics here, they're saying 7 million people will visit the center each and every year. So that's a significant flow of customers.
Yeah. Well, the idea behind being at City Creek, and City Creek it's like you said, it's a $1 billion project that they've spent over a decade putting together. So the 2002 Olympics were here in Salt Lake City, and that's about when they started this project, and they finally finished, and they've plowed in. Over $1 billion into downtown. And what we're doing at City Creek is not a salon. It's called an Aveda Experience Center. And Aveda in the past has operated these experience centers as corporate stores. So in the last 18 months, they've opened up the ability for salon operators like myself to run experience centers, and they've only opened up this opportunity to people that they have a high level of trust will be able to run these things really successfully. So I'm probably one of the only, probably one of maybe half a dozen salon operators that have been afforded this opportunity. So it's kind of cool. So the idea behind City Creek, though, is it's about a mile away from our Marmalade location. And if you lived in Salt Lake City, you'd understand that in order to get to City Creek, if you're coming from the north, you have to pass by our Marmalade location, getting off one of the off-ramps there. So people will see that brand in their car. They'll see our brand. They'll see the location there. And they'll go to City Creek shop. They'll see Aveda there. And we'll be running that Aveda Experience Center. And we can book their appointments at either one of our salons from the Aveda Experience Center. So it'll improve our relationship with Aveda because we'll be selling more product for them, and we'll be exposing those 7 million visitors. Hopefully, all of them walk by our Aveda Experience Center to what Aveda is and the name of the salons that we operate. So, so we're making additional money off of profit. The margins on the product are better than on the service, and we'll be further branding Aveda and Landis salons in the Salt Lake market in preparation for launching additional salon locations.
Wow, that's phenomenal. You know, the public opinion is always such an important factor. And, you know, if you have a system that works right, you have a very, very high public opinion. And one of the pages on our research report, we decided to really dig in deep into the Landis salons and, you know, what are people saying? You know, overall, you know, what's their general feeling of the concept and current business structure? And what we found is we have one location, 287 reviews, 5 stars. We have another location, 247 reviews, 5 stars. And people are saying things, love this place, the absolute best in town. I love the salon. It is simply amazing. Thanks, Chase, for a wonderful haircut. So, you know, you take a look at a business and, you know, they've got 5 or 6 reviews, 5 stars. Well, you know, there's not really a lot going on there. You know, everybody has 5 friends they can have write a review, but we're talking hundreds and hundreds of people that are all putting down 5-star reviews. And that's so important because to maintain a 5-star review is not easy. You know, it only takes 1 or 2 unhappy people to give you 1 star, and you know, you take a significant hit on your overall rating. But you've got almost 300 reviews. Last we checked, which was a couple weeks ago here, on both locations that are all 5 stars, and people are really saying some amazing things, and that's hard to come by.
Yeah, I mean, we really you know, focus. I mean, the focus isn't at the salons. The focus is not on money. The focus is on providing the best guest experience possible. And what ends up happening is the money follows as a result of that. And so we really, you know, focus on that. And then, you know, on the business side, I mean, everybody knows that the Yellow Pages is basically dead at this point, and people go online, you know, to look for different services, and especially in the salon industry. So we really pay attention to City Search, Yelp. We make sure that we're search engine optimizing, you know, keywords that people would be using to look for us, and it's working.
You know, people used to, once upon a time, I remember growing up with a cup of coffee and reading the newspaper. And, you know, if you weren't in the newspaper, I mean, you basically, you know, didn't have any clout. And nowadays, just to see the shift in the generations is amazing. I have a young daughter, you know, that can program a phone, an iPod, and, you know, throw this stuff together quicker than anything I've ever seen. And, you know, as the generations become more and more technologically advanced, to be able to keep up with competition, you know, you have to do the same exact thing. You know, you have to be optimized. You have to be going for keywords and generating those new leads. And I think your revenues really show it. I mean, it seems like as far as your business plan, you know, you guys have it covered from start to finish. The experience seems to be excellent. I mean, from the investor standpoint, there's a lot going on. I mean, even adding an additional stylist could generate up to $80,000 in revenue. As an investor, that's exciting stuff. The numbers that we see in your financials are better than 95% of the over-the-counter market. better than 95%. So, as an investor coming into a stock, you always want to look for the companies that have something going on. There's so many public companies that really don't have anything going on. And I mean, a lot of them, they have disconnected phone numbers, you're not able to verify things, and it makes investing very difficult. So as an investor here, to be able to take a look at such a solid business plan with revenues, with thousands of customer reviews, a business strategy that works, rapid expansion underway, this has to be an exciting time for your investors.
I know it's an exciting time for me, and it's definitely an exciting time for our 80 employees. So, and if you look at the price point on this thing, we're trading at we close at 0004, on Friday, and you look at what the total issue and outstanding is on the common side,
It's
we have it's
unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean it's a $400,000 market cap on a company that in 2012, I'm looking to hit probably 3.5 million in gross revenue, and we have a lot of good prospects, in the future. I mean, the model works. So.
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, you've got a float of 500 million, which is teeny tiny. As an investor coming in, the business plan works. You have to have confidence in investing. A lot of the investors, they kind of wander around the dark shadows of the over-the-counter market without doing the correct amount of due diligence and in background checking. And that's something that we really pride ourselves on in Stock Legends. We put together this nice research report. It's about 15 pages, and there's some content in there that's just absolutely unbelievable, all the way from reviews and on forward. A lot of the press releases have some very exciting stuff. Now, as far as from a strategical end, I'm not sure if you're open to talking about it or not. Do you have any strategic relationships or any kind of acquisitions or leveraging opportunities that you're looking at currently?
Nothing I can go into right now. My focus right now is on getting the experience center open right up, within the next couple of months, and then cranking our revenues up and hitting profitability for our second salon. That's my focus at the moment. But to generally answer your questions, of course, Aveda is a huge strategic partner, and there's a lot of other really successful Aveda salons in the Aveda network, and we're getting a lot of recognition in the Aveda network. And for those people who haven't heard of Aveda, I'm sure they've heard of Estee Lauder. It's one of the largest cosmetics companies in the world. It does, I think it was at least $8 billion, in gross revenue. They know how to run a business, and they've set forth the business model with regard to Aveda. And Aveda is, to kind of jot off into the direction of Aveda's, most of the products are 95% naturally derived. So I mean, it's a really, really good product. I mean, there's no parabens in the product. They use all wind energy to manufacture the product. So it's a great product. They have integrity. And those are the people you want to have strategic business relationships with.
Yeah. Yep. When you're a bridge, you're only as strong as the pillar standing next to you. So I'd have to agree with that. Now let's talk a little bit about your choice for your board of directors and your partners here, your vice president. You said that he is considered to be a professional with Aveda. Is that correct? So he's gone through. It looks like he started in 2005. So he's gone through some pretty rigorous training to basically fall into this position. Anybody else on your team that carries unique skills that may be able to propel your company forward?
Well, I mean, our manager, Cassie Hill, has been with us for over 3 years, and she had, so she probably has a total of 7 years worth of experience. Our top producing stylist, his name is Sean Kirk, and he's a one-man army. And he's been doing hair for in excess of 20 years. And he's been an amazing mentor to a lot of the young stylists. So up and coming. And there's half a dozen other stylists as well that have been on the team almost since inception. 4 of them have their instructor's license, and they take on apprentices. So these apprentices, rather than going to beauty school, they get their education from some of our top stylists. And after they finish their 2,000 plus hours, then they get licensed, and they go on our floor. And that's a way to, always keep our salons furnished with, highly trained, fresh stylists. So those are really the people that matter the most on the team. We've recently hired an additional accountant with the exiting of our former CFO, and he seems to be doing an excellent job as well. And then my administrative assistant, who's been with me for 7 years, Pamela Hyde, has been really critical and helping us grow the business. So, at this point, we'll be at 2 salons and an Aveda Experience Center, and then we'll be basically building the structure to take on more. So you can't really afford to have too much weight at the top right now. The focus needs to be on the people that are generating the revenue. So that's where we're at. On this thing. And I'm not. I think I pull out $60,000,
Right.
a year in this thing right now, because everything is going back into it. I'm not going to get paid on this thing. All my holdings are basically in equity.
Right.
On this thing. And as an insider, you hear a lot of these people that don't know what they're talking about. Oh, well, insiders, have all these positions, can sell into this thing. No, that's just not correct. If you're an insider on one of these little deals, you can sell at most 1% of the total issue outstanding every 90 days, on this deal. So none of the insiders are sellers.
Right.
On this deal. It just doesn't make any sense, at this level. So.
Well, I've always been a big fan of, bet on the jockey, not necessarily the horse. At the end of the day, the leadership is really what matters. And, I can tell that you put your heart and soul into this. And, at the end of the day, the success will come out. Well, it already is for yourself and for the investors. You have an amazing operation. The fact that you're able to create such phenomenal revenues with a salon is amazing in itself, top 200 in the nation. But the real exciting part comes, when you mention some of the other things, when you're able to reciprocate the system that works and multiply it into multiple cities, or also your franchise franchising that you mentioned for a quick second. Those are some big opportunities. Once you get a successful franchise and you offer to the public and they're able to buy in, they're able to follow that same exact business plan and recreate your salons in other cities, and basically do it with you being able to profit and not having to actually walk through the door every morning. So that at that point in time, significant revenue could really start to flow in. And it sounds like at your current pace, it won't take too much longer for you to really ramp this thing up.
No, I think we've, I'm a really ambitious person, sometimes too ambitious, and I forgot who, I think I read this, well, I did read the Steve Jobs biography that came out, and,
It was an
one of the
excellent
lines in there
biography.
is, it's almost, so it's almost as important, I'm paraphrasing this, it's almost, what you don't do is almost as important as what you do. So I guess, what I mean by that is, we opened up this flagship location, and we spent 5 years, basically trying to perfect it before I made a significant investment into a new salon. So I think we really had that, one location, down and optimized all the metrics, from what we're going to pay, what, rent shouldn't exceed, a certain amount of revenue, 6% is what Aveda says. We should be selling, best case scenario, to optimize, profitability. We should be selling at least 25% of our revenues should come from a selling product, for instance. We should be, rebooking at least 60 to 70% of our guests in order to help retain them. Each person that walks out the door should be spending on average $66. And the list just goes on with respect to, the metrics that we follow in order to make this thing successful. So, the metrics in my mind are just a way to gauge how good our guest services are.
So overall, we're seeing a much stronger 2012 than 2011. We're hoping for a strong finish to the year, and with the growth at the pace that it is, if you actually take your year by year and place them next to each other, since the financial collapse, you guys have seen significant growth year over year. And it's been consistent. So at the end of the day, I think that's what the investors are going to want to look for. They're going to want to look on paper and say, hey, where are these guys been, over the last couple of years? Where are they heading? And I think it'll be a very, very clear path cut for the investors on what to expect over the next year or two. You always expect the growth before the price per share appreciation. Like you said, your market cap is extremely low. It's actually only about 20% of your annual revenue. So I see companies that are making $200,000 and their market cap is, in the hundreds of millions. I can think of two, that I've seen over the last month alone. Mm-hmm. So, as an investor, to be able to get in and nuzzle into a position, if you're a swing trader, if you're a long-term trader, this is a stock you have to look at this price point. You have to look at it. In the general over-the-counter market, my opinion is, 90% of the companies, aren't going anywhere and they're going to be in the same place they are if they're even still in business in 12 months. So to be able to actually take a look at a company with so much price potential, there's potential for tens of thousands of percent gains potentially from a price point like where you're at, and it's just unbelievable. So as the market starts to catch on, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, the thing that's frustrating for me, is that, since we are, an over-the-counter company, we don't have the benefit of having, brokers being able to solicit, people for investments, in this deal. And, a lot of the brokerage firms, at this level won't even handle, these securities. And, my anticipation is that we will, hopefully in the next, 2 to 3 years, we'll meet the net cap requirements for a small cap NASDAQ listing or an Amex listing, and then it'll be a whole other league, at that point, and we will get the type of coverage we need. Well, that's the reason why I'm on the doing this interview with you, is try to get exposure
exactly
for the company. I'm gonna continue to try to get exposure for this company, and we won't stop until we get the recognition that we've earned and that we deserve. So.
Exactly. Just like when you optimize a website, you want to make sure that, there's a strategic approach to reach the investor community. We always commend CEOs for coming on. We feel that radio is one of the absolute best ways to be able to broadcast what you have going on to your investor community. Or, another great idea is, put together a videotape, a walkthrough. We see you've got a couple on YouTube. Things like that are excellent. A lot of these companies are so difficult to even be able to really wrap your mind around what they do and what they have going on. But, these things that you're doing, the radio shows, the videos, all this stuff really allows the investor to take a virtual step through your front door and to be able to make that investment decision with confidence. Research and due diligence at the end of the day is going to guarantee investors a winning portfolio. And, they want to make sure they invest in the correct companies. Your company's always been one of our favorites to come back to. We think that you're extremely undervalued. And, we've said this hundreds of times before, and a stock will go from a 000 level up to 5 or 10 cents. I mean, we've had stocks that in the same position that have gone 1,900%, 2,000%. Well, what's missing? You've got the revenues, you've got a solid business plan and a structure that works. The tail end of the ship's going to start swinging around, and there's going to be some phenomenal profits made. We're very excited to have you on the radio show. We've been looking forward to having you on. We'd also like to invite you back on the radio show anytime anything comes up. You've got some future advancements or some kind of strategic relationship taking place. We'd love to have you come back and keep our investors in the loop. For the investors that are interested in taking a quick look at the salon and what they have going on, the new business plans, some customer reviews, financials, and some very solid concrete information, you can go to stocklegends.com. Under the Today's Alert tab, they can click that, or it'll also be archived as GRNE on stocklegends.com, and we'll give you a copy of the report as well for investors that contact you directly. And, we're looking forward to some great things going on here in the very near future with you. Richard, it's been excellent having you on the radio show. Again, we'd love to have you come back, and thanks for coming on today.
I appreciate it, Justin. I wish your followers and listeners the best. So
thank you so much. Richard Surber, ticker symbol GRNE, ladies and gentlemen.